Inside Monrovia, a show created and hosted by our community, spotlighting local businesses, organizations, and incredible people that make up our neighborhood. This is Inside Monrovia. We're out here right now, Station Square, city of Monrovia, and for those of you from Monrovia who are like, wait, that's not Library Park. No, there's another park that is on Myrtle Street. It's a little further down south. You'll go right past the freeway to your right, Station Square, beautiful spot. I'm here with Trey. Kelly, what's up, Trey?
What's good, my guy?
Hey, man, appreciate you being here.
Hey, it's great to be here, especially on this beautiful Saturday.
It is.
It's not too hot, not too cold. We're out here living it up right in Station Square Park.
Well, we were here for the Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see it happening for the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Second time around.
Man, the second time around for the Juneteenth was pretty crazy because honestly, when we did it, I wasn't thinking in my head that it was going to be something that's going to happen every year. Mm-hmm. And of course, that was of course a great goal to have. We're like, oh, it would be awesome if this could be an annual thing. And it just so happened that literally right after we did the Juneteenth, it became recognized as a national holiday. The city of Monrovia recognized it. And so it gave some more wind underneath the wings to like do it again. Yeah. And coming out to do it the second time was even more satisfying than the first time, just to see like the people that it affected, how these people that came out to enjoy the event enjoyed it in different ways. Like there were people here that were here just strictly for the performances. There were people that were here for the vendors. And even for the vendors themselves, there were vendors here, Black-owned businesses, that got this sense of empowerment, that got this sense of self-sufficiency within community. Yeah. What I mean by that is that knowing that there's people out here that will support you 100%. You just got to put yourself out.
And I love that there were those spaces to do that. This year, I saw the evolvement of it. And thank you again, man, for having me to come out and host. Like, bro. I enjoy it. Like music, is just a blast, bro. So it was just fun. But seeing like the young artists with their booths set up and the bracelets and the jewelry, you know what I mean? And just seeing the different things, the food truck, seeing it grow. And I think it was interesting because this year, to me, with it becoming nationally recognized here in the country, even though this happened in 1863, and then 2 years later is when everyone found out. And, without getting too deep, I hope folk will take a moment to Google Juneteenth, because I felt like some of the talk online was like, what is this holiday? Why is this a holiday? I'm celebrating July 4th.
Exactly.
And to me, it was like, well, we celebrate St. Patrick's Day and we celebrate, the Easter Bunny. Yeah. So I'm like, well, what does one have to do with the other? Yeah. Like, I think these are all things, like, that's where we have the beautiful ability to find things out online now. And so I think there was just a layer of people not knowing what Juneteenth was never heard about it.
Most definitely. And I know it's crazy because it goes for both groups. Like it goes for the Black, brown people like myself, and it goes for a lot of the white people as well. Because of the way education systems are set up and the way we receive information through these school systems, a lot of key moments that are in our culture are not going to be shared within the school system. And so, with that being said, there's a lot of Black and brown people that don't understand Juneteenth either, that don't know what's going on with Juneteenth either. And so, for it to be recognized on a national scale, and I'm not even when I say recognized, I'm not talking about specifically the nation recognizing it and the government actually recognizing it. I'm talking about a collective community as people, as we've decided to say, hold up, this matters, and let's start making it a bigger deal than what it was before. Yeah. And not waiting for that kind of validation for the government and from, the powers that be, I feel like helps spur on something, and it's encouraging to Black people to see that when we decide to come together as a collective and recognize something and say, no, hold up, this matters to us. Hold up, you're not going to do us like that. the power that has towards the government, because now it becomes something where they say, hold on, they're right, hold on, let's make something happen, they're right.
Yeah.
You know, you still don't have a day of work off. We'll get there. We'll get to that. We'll get to that one.
Is that kind of like, for you, one of the things that Black Lives Matter Monrovia, you and your family established that out here? Yeah. Is that something for you that was like, what was it like that kind of was BLM Monrovia? And how did that kind of come about?
So a big thing with BLM Monrovia was that it was, of course, during when like the George Floyd murders and everything was happening, you know, the height of quarantine. And the first thing that kind of inspired me was I went to a protest in LA with a couple of my friends, man, and we went out. And the sense of urgency, the energy, the people that came together as a collective really empowered you, because you said, okay, I'm not alone in this fight. Like, there were a lot of people that are standing in solidarity to make change. But then it hit me in my head, as we were at that protest, it hit me in my head, I said, dang, that's crazy, because I know not everybody here is from LA. I know this person from Amani, these group of people are from Pasadena, this group of people are from here, here. And although it's awesome to come to a collective in one spot other than our own cities, it hit me in my head to think, man, if everyone took this sense of urgency to their own community, what change would we see? What mindsets would we see change? And how would that affect the larger scale? Because think about it. All these little minuscule details that happen in community government, all these little, you know, lines written in the nooks and crannies that we don't think affect people. Affect students, affect adults, affect, you know, people trying to find work that are in the minority. And sometimes we get too caught up on the bigger picture that we miss out how the little picture affects the bigger picture.
Or how it gets to that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, you know, we came back out and me and my sisters found out about a protest that was happening at Library Park, you know, led by Melissa Taylor, shout out. And so we came out and we really thought, like, okay, how can we take this to the next level?
Yeah. And that's where I met you and your sister at.
Exactly. Right where I met this man right here.
Yeah.
And being out there was such a crazy experience, because especially here in Monrovia, being, you know, a black individual, you could feel, you know, isolated from the community in a sense. You know, for example, like Library Park is up there. You know, this park is down here, right below the train tracks, or right at the train tracks, not below it yet.
And it's somewhat deemed like,
don't want to touch that.
Why don't you do it at Library Park?
Yes.
You know.
And that's what we get at the Juneteenth. That was a question we get all the time, like, oh, why don't you guys do it at Library Park? Why don't you do it at Library Park? Because that's not the point, you know. We're not saying we don't, you know, appreciate the people that live over there, the people that live at that go to Library Park. Not at all. It's a great park.
Yeah.
What about the people that don't feel completely included into the events at Library Park?
And our city being as vast as it is, there's a lot of people right here that do live. Monrovia does come below these tracks right here. Yes. So it's like, it's all, if we're a city of 1, 2.5 exits or whatever you want to call it, right? 3.5 exits, like, why shouldn't there be more? We got a beautiful spot like this that does nothing. Yes. We've got other parks and other places throughout the city, but we stay on Myrtle Street and within these few blocks. Yeah. And it's been weird to me. I love that you guys did that here. Yeah. I love it because it just shined light on this stage and this backdrop.
No, because at the end of the day, like, a lot of the way things move is according to tradition and according to what has been normal, a sense of normalcy. And to me, how can we challenge the status quo? How can we expand our reach if we're staying in these normal avenues, these normal, familiar ways of movement? And a lot of what happens in Monrovia is that there is this sense of this is the way things have been, so we're going to keep doing it along these lines. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, the way things have been doesn't really include them or doesn't really benefit them to the full capacity. So with Juneteenth, we're trying to find a way, and we were trying to find a way, all right, what can we do to include people like us who haven't really been, completely recognized, haven't had a celebration celebrating their culture? What can we do to empower?
Yeah.
And I talked about you with this earlier, is that with a lot of black people and with a lot of minorities, there's a sense of that the only times we can, come together, or the only times we can feel a sense of community is in defense, or like in the sense of fighting a status quo. And for Juneteenth, it was more a thing about celebration. Like, why can't we just
celebrate each other?
Celebrate each other. Exactly. Just being free and not having to, okay, why are we meeting today? Oh, the only time I have to see black people is when we're protesting somebody's death. And that's a heavy burden to carry. That's a heavy burden to carry as a culture, to every time that we're meeting up with one another, every time that we're having an outing is mourning, like, that could be tough. So it's like giving individuals and giving people a sense of empowerment through celebration with like-minded people, through celebration with people that look like you.
For BLM Monrovia specifically, and I want to ask this for the people online. There's a few different Facebook groups here in the city, and I posted up, hey man, hosting this Juneteenth event, and I got the ha emoji, and I think it's a lot of, they see BLM Monrovia and there's this because there's this political tie now to when you say Black Lives Matter, you're saying something about something else. Oh, well, these are different people, and do you know where their money is coming from, and do you know what their agenda is? And without speaking to what we don't know about, right? For Black Lives Matter Monrovia, what is it that you as one of the leaders of the organization would like to see happen here under that?
I think one of the biggest things in Monrovia that I would like to see under BLM is I'd probably like to see representation, inclusiveness, and by what I mean by inclusiveness is for us to be able to feel like when we go to Myrtle, when we're going to Monrovia Days, we feel like it's our community too, in a sense. Because there's a lot of, gray areas where I know a lot of that. You wouldn't believe how many black people live in Monrovia because you would never see them at Monrovia Days. You would never see them at a Myrtle event, and it's not because we don't enjoy those type of things. It becomes a thing about the culture and what is represented in the culture, and is it a place where we feel that we can truly enjoy ourselves? And so, what does that look like? I think that goes into policy. That goes into creating policies that, first of all, make it more affordable to live for minority groups above, Huntington, above Foothill, And even more than that, we in this community, and I keep saying this, we're big about empowerment. Like, we want to empower, because it's all good and great. For example, like, one of the vendors that we had is somebody we met at a graduation party at the beach. And there was a woman I cannot remember her name right now, so forgive me. But a woman over there, and she was selling like these desserts, like these ice creams. And she was just so about her business. Like, she was selling sweets. She had a little cart, and she was so about her business. And as a people, me and my sister saw that. We were like, man, good for her. Like, we bought some of her stuff. We were like, oh, this is a great time. And we thought, hey, would you like to be a vendor over here at this Juneteenth event? It's something like just that small, something you don't think that's really impacting somebody. Man, she brought her whole family, and the way they were so supportive and so happy to see her doing her business. Simple as her having an opportunity to do her business is crazy.
Opportunities are huge.
Opportunity is a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. And for us as BLM, to be able to have a platform to create opportunities for different people. We have my cousins, a couple of my little cousins were the ones selling the gems and the beads. A business that they started by themselves. But guess what? Now they have an opportunity to practice that business, to enact that business, to be about their business. And that's an empowering feeling. With that conversation with the woman that had her desserts, she said, thank you so much for having me out here. Like, you don't understand what this means to me, to be able to come out here and do something that I want to do. do something that I want to do and feel like I'm actually doing it the right way. And so for us, that's a big thing. And whether it be empowering through that opportunity or empowering through support system, no matter what it looks like, no matter what the picture is painted as, I think for BLM Monrovia, that's the biggest thing.
What's the best way, like, someone could find out more, donate, volunteer for BLM Monrovia?
Oh man, BLM Monrovia, we have 2 ways that you can communicate us. One of the ways is you can communicate us through email, BLM Monrovia, 2 M's, BLM, then another M, Monrovia, @gmail.com. That's our email. And then we also have the Instagram, which is BLM. Guess what? It's going to sound a lot like the last one. Monrovia with another M, Monrovia. BLM, another M, Monrovia. Adding on Instagram as well. And those are the ways that you can contact us. Because in this community, we're going to start doing a lot more things. In the sense of whether it be book drives, since it would be school supply drives in order to help out the community, whether it be something as simple as helping people out with gas, with bills, no matter what it looks like, empowerment and support. That's our thing for the community. And so if you can help us in any way with that, or if you need that empowerment or support, feel free to reach us on any of those lines. For real. We're here.
And I also too, Trey, with that said, man, I really want to big you up, man. And I'm glad we're having this conversation here on this platform, because I want young folk that see this to also know a little bit more about you, because you just graduated from college.
Yeah, man.
So this organization was happening and being put together while you're taking classes, while you're handling finals, while you're doing what you got to do. But this was something passionate to you, your family, to build and create. And I just think that's mad inspiring, bro.
I appreciate that.
Because cats are having a tough time just staying with the class thing, and so
it's tough.
Yeah, for sure. And as you did that, Cal Lutheran grad?
Cal Lutheran, man.
Congrats.
I'm a Kingsman, man. CLU.
Congratulations, dude.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
And what would you say, bro, to a young cat who is trying to do something more? They like, bro, I'm drowning in these books, though, but I want to do more.
This is what I would say. I have a couple things. I'm not going to give a number or a list because I don't know how many things exactly I'm going to say. But I will say this. One of the biggest things, the advice I can give, I've been through it, it's all said and done, is I would say, do what you're passionate about. 100% do what you're passionate about. Don't do what looks good on paper. If you're passionate about something that looks good on paper, do it. But I'm just saying, don't do it just because it looks good. Don't do it just because it sounds good when you're telling people what are you studying. Don't do that. Because at the end of the day, your school career is going to be over, and you're going to be sitting there like, now what? Now what do I do? Because went through all the motions. I've done what was necessary. I've done what was required of me. Now what do I do? But here's the thing. Once you chase what you're passionate about, you may have that question of how do I maneuver, but it's never going to be a thing of what do I do? It's going to be, what's the next step? It's not going to be, oh God, what am I even on? What's the next step? And that is probably the biggest advice I give. Do what you're passionate about. And if you're worried about making money, this is what I can say is when you're passionate about something, if you keep pushing forward in it, opportunities are going to come up as long as you keep pressing it. Keep pressing the point. And the problem is if you do something that you're not passionate about, you're going to find it actually harder to make money, harder to get a job with it. Not that it's all about money, but you're going to find it hard to get a job with it.
Because it'll be about money.
Exactly, because it's going to be only about money. There's not going to be no other, senses coming into the picture or to the pot. So that's one thing. Second thing I would say is experience the most you can, man. Because you're only going to be in college for so long. You're only going to be in college around other people, around different cultures, around different, experiences for so long till you have to snap right back to reality. So while you're there, experience as much as you can. Make as much connections with the people you can. Because to be honest, what I didn't realize in college is I thought it was strictly the books and the analytics and the A's and B's that was going to help me in the next phase of life. What you don't realize is in college, it's those connections, those people that you're meeting, the experiences that you have that you can draw upon in real life, that networking. That's really going to take you to that next level. And the biggest thing I could say, my last piece of advice, is it's okay to be ambitious, but do not be restless. Those are two different things. Ambition and being restless are two different things. Ambition is being hungry, getting after what you want to get after, but experiencing life at the same time to its full capacity. Being restless is this idea of you are so obsessed with what you have to get done that you neglect the experience of life. Don't let that happen to you, man.
Yeah.
Do not let that happen to you. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, when the curtain closes on your life, it's just going to be you in that box. And you're going to sit back. You're going to sit back on your last days. You're going to be like, what did I make of my life? What did I make? Yeah. Was it just the books? Was it just strictly my job, my work, my career? What are the experiences that I can really hold on to? And
that's good.
At the end of the day, man, that's the biggest advice I give you guys. And keep pushing on. And if you want to do something, even though it may be hard, it may be tough, if you want to do something outside your school career, do it. Do it. I just went on a whole spiel, a whole tangent.
Nah, I appreciate it, dude. That's great.
Yeah.
Look, also, man, BLM Monrovia, find them on Instagram. I'm excited to see what you guys got coming.
Appreciate that.
And Trey, before we wrap,
for
the one person who is watching this right now, that is like, why is this guy with a beard talking to a gang member with this thing on his head? Can you explain to that one person?
The one person.
What a do-rag. It's fly one too, man. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
My man got the velvet on.
The velvet do-rag.
So, if you could explain to that one person who does not know what a do-rag really is and why it's not just about gang culture.
It's not about gang affiliation, ladies and gentlemen. The do-rag is a sacred piece. It's a sacred piece of equipment. I don't know if you guys know this. There's a thing called waves. Waves. It gets dangerous. But the key to having waves, man, is you need to have this do-rag on. You have to brush religiously. I know y'all know the pomade. It lasts you for like 3 years. You got to put the pomade in your hand. Put on your head. The do-rag, it's not gang affiliated. It looks fly. You get waves. And in my case, it's velvet, ladies and gentlemen. You see it. You see it. What more can I say? Do-rag's not gang affiliated.
Bro, I don't know which part about this convo was the best, but that might have been it for me right there.
I would take it off and show you the waves, but these cameras are expensive. The water damage, you don't want that. You don't want that. So,
I appreciate you, man.
No, of course, man. Thank you for having me, bro. It's always a good time linking up with my boy Chris, man. Great guy, for real.
So there's a few ways I can introduce this next guest. He's an alumni from right here in the city of Monrovia. He's a good friend of mine, an amazing artist. I want to say skater, but that's how I know him. So I'm gonna bring him on in, man. Bill Cormalis Jr. What's up, Bill?
What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
I'm good, dude.
Good.
Yo, so this is a special conversation because I've known this brother since I was 12 at the time. Just moved to Monrovia, fresh being here in the city. And I gotta say, man, I appreciate you, Bill, in a way, as a man, as we're grown men now, right? Yeah. Alumni of this high school that we were barely entering. You were in.
Yeah.
I was coming into. Man, thank you for just embracing the new kid.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
Man.
Yeah.
That's one of those things, dude. For anyone who's gone to a new school, that's that feeling of I don't know where I'm at. I don't know where the class is. I don't know where anything is in this whole city. Connecting with you, man, at church and just getting to hop on a skateboard.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what did it.
Yeah.
Right? It was skating. I was trying to think back. So, but how long, your family's been here in the city of Monrovia?
Yeah, I've been here my whole life. My mom was actually born in Monrovia, so she's bedrock to this city. And then my dad is from Argentina, and they met through high school, Monrovia High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've been here for a minute, and I love the house, man. Shout out to your mom and dad for just always having the warmest home of just come on in. We were there hanging. It just felt like home.
Yeah.
At your house.
That was the spot. A lot of my friends that, you have both your parents, but a lot of my friends that were, from single parent homes, they loved to come to my mom's house. She treated them like one of us, you know what I mean? So definitely a warm spot.
And if anyone ever saw a yellow Volkswagen bus moving through the city,
that was the family bus.
That was
right
the
there.
family bus right there.
Yep.
Love piling into that. What got you into skating, dude?
I was riding a skateboard before being a skater. So like it was already there. Just the culture, the scene, it was something different to do. I don't know. It was just my style. It was the thing that I wanted to do. And it was the first thing in my life that I really put everything into, you know.
And I asked that because it's like skate culture is just so different now, right? 2021, like it's a very normal thing.
Yes.
At the time when we were skating, it wasn't like the norm. There was still a lot of places that were like, don't skate here, keep that thing away. You know what I mean? It wasn't accepted the way that it was.
Yeah.
Which is why I asked that, because now seeing how you've grown, bro, as an artist, art can kind of be this other place of accepted or not.
Yeah.
Depending on how it's perceived and how it's taken in. Before we get to the art, man, was it anything like coming up and going to school in Monrovia that sparked your interest into art?
Nah, Monrovia, it's not that. It's from skateboarding. That culture, the players that are in that game, they inspired me to do it. Like I said, the personalities are totally different. Skateboarding back then was not something that your mom really wanted you to do. Your grandma definitely didn't want you to do it, and you were guilty by association by doing it. And but no, the people that did the skateboarding were the artists, you know, you create on a skateboard, and then they were creating on their skateboards, painting on the grip tape. The skateboard itself is individual expression. So just that individual thing is you getting to just be with yourself and do something yourself has always attracted me.
No, that's interesting you say that too, because it was like from the grip tape to the board to your shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like duct tape around the shoes, Sharpie it up, whatever it was. I always remember kind of the same being introduced to art through skating.
That's what was my big introduction, was through skateboarding.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So what elementary did you go to?
Wild Rose, right up the street. Wild Rose Elementary.
You got any teachers, man, you want to shout out, or that you remember that was like, yo, this was the one? Or are you like, yeah, I'm gonna stay?
My memory doesn't go back that far.
So Wild Rose, then
Clifton. Yeah, I had a little stint in a private school for a minute there, but then ended back into the Monrovia Unified School District.
So then Clifton, then Monrovia High School. After school, after high school, what was that like for you?
Bad choices, life, learning, slamming into the ground metaphorically, just living life, a real life, having kids, divorce, making art, finding out who I am through all of that, you know. So it's just living a real life. No, that's cool, man. Because I think I wanted to ask that and kind of walk through for you, because I didn't know Wild Rose. You know, I think I remember Clifton. Yeah.
I didn't know Wild Rose, but you know, this show being from here in Monrovia, and just really with the thought and the hope that young folk watching it can see people that came from their own town. Yeah. Right? And gone on. And what you're doing now, bro, with your art is your friend, as your brother, like, yo, dude, I can only say, man, thank you for what you do. I'm so excited for you as your brother, like, to see how your life has gotten you to this moment where you're creating this art. Modern Baseball Art is the company, right? And the org now.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Is what it is now.
Yeah,
That's where they can find you on Instagram.
Absolutely,
anyway, for sure.
Yes.
Yo, so I know that we had talked about like your art getting placed. Was it the Negro League Baseball was a spot where your art kind of started to take off into a different area. For you, Bill, like what was it that had you doing Negro League Baseball art?
Yeah, I get asked that one a lot. It starts with Jackie Robinson. You know, growing up in the LA area, the Dodgers are the team. And if you're a Dodger fan, you're lucky enough to at least get that little bit of Negro League education through Jackie Robinson. And so that exposure, and me, I'm a rebellious person by nature. So when somebody tells me that I can't do something, oh, it's really hard to like succumb to that, you know? And I see Jackie Robinson as a rebel. I see him as a figurehead, you know? He's very, very, very important. Maybe one of the most important figures in civil rights history. And the fact that it came through the sport of baseball, that, you know, it's a game, you know?
Yeah.
And the fact that it was a game that you couldn't play if you were even just 1% of color, that shakes me. And so I just grew a fascination, and wanted to let everybody else know that there's more than Jackie Robinson out there regarding the Negro Leagues.
That's dope. Yo, so let me just talk art for a sec, bro. Like, art's so vast. You could work with so many different mediums. For you, what was the first, like, was it a pencil, a pen, a spray can? Like, what did you pick up first?
It had to be a pencil.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe that most art will start there.
Yeah.
You know, we're not always going to have a canvas available, but, you know, you could make a drawing of something that you want to make bigger later. You know,
Yeah.
it's a great foundation to
Right.
just start there. And then I just go through phases. There's times where I won't pick up a pencil because I just only want to paint, and then I'll paint for a long time and then only draw for a minute. I don't want to get tired of one thing and be, I hate to say this word, but a slave to the one thing. So I like to keep it fresh. Paint for a while, draw, make a sculpture, just whatever. I just like to keep it everywhere.
That's cool, dude. Like, that to me is always fascinating, like what people are kind of attracted to create with.
Yeah.
You know, my son, he's super into origami, and I'm like, that's amazing, like what you do with paper, but my brain just never
Right.
put that part together.
Right.
So I love that, man. And I wanted to have this convo here in Monrovia. We're at Recreation Park. I know that you've also got history with the building over here. Was it the Monrovia Community Center you were doing skate stuff with? Tell me a little bit about that, man. I know, like...
Are you talking about like with the skate park and whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah, so before the Monrovia skate park was put in, the city was kind of like becoming more accepting to skateboarding. You know, it wasn't going away, no matter how hard you tried.
Yeah.
It's still here. And for a long while, before the skate park was here, we were using this hard court back there to set up an array of skateboarding equipment for the kids to ride on. And that's what eventually grew into the idea of putting the skate park here.
That's cool. And I'm kind of like going everywhere because I've known you since we were young, bro. And I'm intrigued by the different things that kind of go into this pot, like almost like a jambalaya of your art, right? There's skating. I mean, we spent hours playing Nintendo, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, you know, that whole era of that. Baseball cards, you know what I mean? I think we lived through the whole junk card era.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is also, speak to that if you wouldn't mind, like the junk card era and how you started creating around that.
Yeah, so one, all of those things that you had just mentioned are things that I enjoy. And this world is crazy. You wake up and it's just negative everywhere. So as an artist, I just choose not to work from that negative space, but to just, you know, keep in the things that make me happy. Like, that's why I make art. It makes me feel good, okay? So I choose to do the things that have inspired me. And yeah, I mean, I just try to keep it light for me. Yeah, so I mean, when we were growing up, they just made so many baseball cards, all right? And when I was a kid, we'd collect these things and we'd look at the price guide books and we think we're setting up our futures, you know? Like, I'm gonna be able to live off of this. And the production just was too crazy, and the hype was just all hype. And so there's no value in it, okay? And so as an artist, I still have these things around and I'm still inspired by baseball. And I just figure, since they're worthless, that we can turn each one of these things into a piece of art with the cards. And that was something that happened in 2020, and it took off. I mean, it's amazing how many people just went into their collections and went at it.
So by 2020, like, you had already been doing art for how long before that?
Oh, I've been making art my entire life. And in 2005, I can actually say I became a professional artist.
Got it. Yeah. And you would say 2005, why? What was it?
Because I started getting paid to do it. You know what I mean? Like, simple, like it's a hobby for the longest time. And then you put it out there and then somebody sees it. And then the first professional work I got was painting a mural at Mayflower Elementary School.
Oh, so cool.
It's pretty awesome. So like it all came full circle back into Monrovia.
Yeah.
You know,
I love it.
back to Monrovia. Like, my first professional work was painting a few murals at the schools here.
Yo, what would you say, like, for the young artist who's trying right now and getting started, like, they're gonna face their challenges, right? And they're gonna just be doing it and getting zero reaction or 0 likes on the gram or whatever that looks like, right? Like,
yeah, so I feel like we're living in this world where people are telling you just don't care what other people think, but then we're also on these social media platforms that all it's about is getting the like. All right, so one, you have to do it for yourself. Like, if you make art for everybody else, I don't think the reaction is going to be the same. So it has to be from you, only you, thinking about what you want to do. And then this is what I figured. It's a 50-50 split. Like I said, the likes on Instagram and then not caring, it's a 50-50 split. So there's going to be half people that don't like it, and there's going to be half the people that like it. And if you can just live in that middle ground, you should be fine. But don't give up because you got a negative reaction. Actually, make more because you got the negative reaction. You got a reaction. That's what art is, okay? It's and a lot of times it's not the people that are super loving of your artwork that are gonna dote over it. It's gonna be the people that don't like it that you're gonna get that reaction from. And that's what art is. It's just reaction. It's something or it's nothing. It's just all interpretation.
I love that.
So don't do it for anybody but you. And it's the world's once you let them have it.
Yeah.
And it's theirs to say or do what they want with it.
Yep. But you keep creating.
Yes,
Create
you
what
keep
create.
making it.
Yeah.
Because that just, like, for me, art is, I can honestly say I've done something with my time. Each one of those paintings, it's my journal. It's my diary.
Yeah.
It's documenting your life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fresh, dude. So they can find you, Modern Baseball Art, on Instagram.
Yep.
All the platforms, certain ones. Any spot you particularly want them to go to?
BillCormales Jr. That's
Okay.
my website.
Okay.
BillCormalesJr.com.
Thank you, man, for what you're doing with your Fernando Mania event. You know, that's a super cool thing. You mind talking about that real quick?
I make art in celebration. So 40 years have passed since Fernando's Fernando Mania, where he crushed the world with his baseball exploits. And so I've been making artwork on my own just to celebrate that. And I've accumulated a bunch now, and I was thinking I'd have an art show. And then a couple months ago, while I've been making this work, I found out that the unaccompanied minors from Mexico are being sheltered in Pomona at the Fairplex. And that's the next city over from me. So I thought, maybe I gather some artists that would be willing to participate, and we all make art and try to raise a little money for supplies for these kids because they're in need.
Dope. Thank you, man. Like, it speaks to who you are, Bill. Like, since I met you, you were just the dude that brought me in. Come on, man, let's ride. I was the young dude. Let's skate, man. Let's get out. Let's get it. And to see your heart for people still in your art as you create, as you tell these stories. I learned a lot, man, from your art regarding the Negro Leagues in general.
Yeah.
So I'd encourage anyone watching this to really just look into Bill's art and discover for yourself what was really going on with the Negro League baseball previous to Jackie Robinson.
Right.
Like really, really dig
Right.
in and do a little work. It's kind of amazing what you'll find. But appreciate you, bro. Thank you for your art, man. I know you've encouraged some people here in Monrovia. So
Cool.
Thanks, bro.